Hey, this is Notser. Today we're taking a look at destroyers versus submarines. This is from round 3 submarine testing. And I have shown some gameplay from the submarine's point of view, but I wanted to show gameplay from other point of views. And I can think of no better point of view than that of the DD. They get depth charges. They're expected to hunt these guys down. How are they capable of recognizing the location where the sub is operating, and can they actually get to its area and, do tons of damage to it? That's what we're going to see in this game. So I approached B point in an attempt to maybe contest or capture, and enemy's already here. This enemy Ernst, he recognizes he's attempting to capture B. He's popped his smoke, maybe even a hydro combo to detect my torps, but also myself, and safely camp inside of smoke, right? That was the plan. Unfortunately for him, a friendly submarine was able to get a ping lock on him. And a ping lock is equivalent to radar. It will keep you spotted inside of smoke, behind islands. It doesn't matter. You are spotted as long as that homing is attached to you, and it's easy to reattach a homing lock once you are detected. It lasts for 30 seconds, but they can refresh it almost perpetually as long as they're managing their battery resource, and clearly teammates are doing a great job. There's actually an enemy submarine right next to the Ernst, and he is still actually ping locked. So this is as good as radar for me, and I need to take advantage of this. Now, it does mean that the friendly submarine is using his homing lock to keep a target spotted, and if he's doing that, he can't attack any other target. You can only have one homing lock on at any given moment, and if you assign it before your previous one drops off, it forcibly removes that and assigns it to the new target. So yes, it's effectively radar, but you can only have radar on one target per submarine, and they need to be in the area. And if they are actively targeting, then there could be layered damage that, would be better placed at a different target. So you have to consider all this stuff when you are operating near a submarine, but it's something that is definitely a part of the gameplay, and it probably is going to remain there for the entire existence of subs. So getting used to this layering and when to take advantage of and what you can take advantage of is always important. Now, as I was exiting out of the smoke cloud, we noticed that the enemy submarine is actually at periscope depth, which is 8 meters, and getting a little bit of damage on the target. He is going to retreat back below the water, and once he drops below 10 meters, there's no shell that I can fire that will hit him. I just have to give up the chase and go after someone different. But the submarine, if he is operating on the surface, he has basically infinite battery, so that he can infinitely ping out targets. And every time he is pinging, that halo explosion is indicating his location. So I could take a random chance shot at the last pinged out location, and if he's on the surface, we can actually damage him. And that's something that you need to look forward. But the bots will not recognize this. At least from what I've seen, the bots are really stupid. So instead of constantly staying over by B, I decide let's disengage, and instead we're going to catch this enemy DD as he attempts to retreat back towards or go back forward. And of course, Hatsuharu, that accuracy holds true. Nice and accurate. But he is so low, we just have to get a good, clean shot. We actually flood out the Byron, which is funny, and we are very close to a double strike, and he is trying to hide in his smoke. Hopefully the friendly is able to use a ping lock on the target. It would be nice if there was some icon indicating that a teammate has a homing lock on the target. And that kind of dispersion. Once in a million, man. That felt great. Enemy Fuso retreating. The New Mexico is actually player control, but that Fuso is a bot. So I'm not too worried about the Fuso, considering he's a bot. And instead, I'm just going to work my way over to the cap, use smoke, and notice something. When we were attempting to smoke out, the enemy submarine, that's obviously the target I'm aiming at, he was able to home lock me. That's what that detection is on the screen. And I am attempting to see if he's actually on the surface. If he is below the water, then I'm going to do no damage. But if he's below the water, he is using up his battery resource, which recharges very, very slowly. Now, we actually get some torp hits on the enemy Fuso, which is nice, but it recharges very slowly. Oh, okay, here we go. He, of course, homing on us. We have to dedicate ourselves to dodging these torpedoes, and they are absolutely homing in on us. So one way of dodging torpedoes, just move outside of their effective range. Easier said than done, I absolutely will admit, but if it's an option, you might as well take it because that allows you to layer your attention towards something else much faster. And that's something else, this enemy DD that is coming in and contesting C point, sorry. Friendly is on the surface, friendly submarine is on the surface, and he is hoping that me, myself, and maybe a couple other teammates will have interest in that DD because the DD is really the only thing that could rush in and like end his life. So I have to keep in mind the DD's location. While all this is going on, New Mexico, player controlled, is on the flank. I sent torps predicting that, and I don't like how close this DD is getting to my submarine. I'm going to try and close out this game in this way. I don't want him to continuously try and depth charge. That's obviously what he's doing. We are also having that enemy submarine that we have been dealing with earlier. He's still there. So I have to consider, maybe he's going to homing lock me, and maybe he's going to send torpedoes. If he sends torpedoes, I will have to actively dodge against him. The enemy submarines and the way they're designed, they feel very much like fighting off air. If you don't dedicate... Ooh, someone got a nice shot on the Icarus. I think if we rotate our guns, we'll deal with it. But if you don't dedicate yourself absolutely... Oh, he just sailed right on top of that sub and just wiped him out. If you don't dedicate yourself completely to avoiding the submarine, he will easily land 2 torps and knock you out. So just using my guns, these awful, awful guns against the Icarus, hoping to knock him out. We are getting good location on the shells. Should be able to kill him in the next salvo. He's trying to smoke out, but it's too late. I'm just going to blind fire that. All right. See you later, enemy Icarus. Something is still capturing at this point, and it must be the enemy submarine because there's just not a lot of players left on the map. Because I see that it's being captured in his last known position, I'm just going to fire at his last known position now. I miss slightly with the shell location, but I'm trying to get it located better. It needs to drop down and actually hit him. There we go. We were able to contest based on the last known position, and we actually contested again. It's a real challenge for the submarine. The submarine has to decide, does he want to capture the base? Does he also want to try and land some torpedoes and home on the target? If he wants to try and capture the base, he has to be at periscope depth. And if he's at periscope depth and pinging, he is actively highlighting his last known position. And if you just fire at his last known position, if you clearly see a situation where he has to be the culprit, then you will do damage to him and force him below water. If I force him below water, he will lose all cap progression. So it's in my best interest to rush in and go after this guy, especially considering there are no enemy ships near me. And looky here, he is on the surface. He's attempting to not have to go below water, but we have caught on to your plan. All we're trying to do is locate our shells right on top of his position. He sends out torpedoes in an attempt to hit us, but as long as we are paying attention and we are aggressively attacking at it, it's very easy to dodge out of the way of 1 or 2 torpedoes coming from one direction. So it seems that he's actually slipping below the surface, but this is the perfect opportunity for depth charges. So of course, I'm going to sail right on top of him, drop my depth charges at point blank range, and we're just going to see the damage go up and the enemy sub go down. So that felt pretty good. Very happy with that play. Only 1 enemy sub left. And we also have to deal with a couple bots and a couple battleships. So, you know, this game, it's ended up being pretty outstanding. I know these are against bots. Like, I know they're easy. But recognize what information I am getting as a DD and what I can take advantage of. And if you have a good understanding of the way the game's supposed to work, you can exploit it. So, I know that the submarine cannot spot unless it's on the surface. It can't capture unless it's on the surface at the periscope depth. So anytime that there may or may not be, oh, this is going to be a nice broadside on this bot, it should be wiping out. But anytime a submarine is the only source in the area and last known position, they are on the surface. There is no other culprit that could be. And if we're taking out targets, we're taking out sources of spawning for free from the submarine. So it's a win-win. Now, people ask me, what is a battleship or a heavy cruiser supposed to do? You're supposed to deny the submarine his support staff. You're supposed to kill everything on the surface and stay back far enough so that DDs and light cruisers can rush in, use their depth charges, or keep the sub spotted so you can engage them. I don't necessarily know that that's a satisfactory way of dealing with them. I'm going to be completely honest, because you really do feel like you're helpless. And there are other classes where you do feel like you are at a disadvantage, but I don't necessarily think that you feel helpless. You know, maybe certain matchups with aircraft carrier or DD, but I don't have a helpless feeling in a battleship that frequently. Maybe against a really great DD player who's keeping you spotted and torpedoing. But as far as I can see, there's really not a great counter for those two. But as a DD, you basically hard counter submarines if you're halfway decent. Your depth charges kill them almost 100 to 0 if you just rush in and kill them. You can keep them spotted, you can harass them like hell, and you can do their job on the surface way better than them. So all that's great. This enemy sub-tester, ooh, we catch him on the side. Confederate, is he going to flood out? It looks like he actually stopped the flood. And it looks like the friendly will be able to kill him. Yep, he gets him on the broadside. Good. Okay, well, 2 versus 2. We've worked really hard for this, but the last 2 enemy ships, they're both player controlled. On my side, I am clearly in control of this, but we're playing with a bot in the Fuso, so I need to overcome 2 control players, one being a light cruiser in the Leander and the other one being a submarine. So how am I going to do this? Well, I feel like I don't have an advantage against the Leander in a straight-up fight, but I do have the advantage if my bot is capable of landing any nice shots on the target. So I want to keep the Leander spotted, send torpedoes, you know, maybe or maybe not they'll hit. It's really up to the Leander on whether he camps in the area or not. But I want to kind of work myself towards the submarine so that I have an understanding of what's going on. I have no idea exactly where he is, because his last known position, over at A point. Now, B is 50% of the way there, and oh, we're getting so close on this torp, it's not going to hit. And in fact, I'm going to have to use my guns to contest. And that's the only reason I am firing my gun, is to contest. At least we were successful in contesting, but now that we fired our gun, we're revealed, and yep, the enemy submarine, he pings us out, and he keeps us spotted. So I need to try and continuously move away from the enemy. I'm afraid that he may be on the surface, although based on the detection, he can't be on the surface. If he was on the surface, I would see an exclamation point for the detection. As it stands, I sort of have an arrow for like a mini-map waypoint thing, and that is communicating that the sub is underwater, and he is using his ping to keep me spotted. Now he's actually on the surface, but he ducks right back down, and we're able to catch his homing torpedoes and turn inside of them. I really feel like the best way to deal with the homing torpedo is to aggressively go after it. You know, sail as close as you can near it, but you want to push it to its absolute limit on its turn radius. Bots are really bad about recognizing this. They basically don't know what's going on, but players sure can. And yep, here we go. He tried a rear send torpedo, and we are just trying to turn just enough to avoid that torp. That was so close. That was incredibly close. Enemy Leander, he is moving maybe towards the friendly Fuso. I can't really deal with everything at this precise moment. I figure, okay, since I took B, that's great. We're going to go take A point and attempt to try and drop on. Now notice, I could just go into the cap and smoke out. But if I smoked out in this exact moment, I am still being homed by the enemy submarine. Only now, after that situation where it flips over to just an exclamation point, only now can I pop smoke, hide in it, and not be revealed. There's not enough information in Wargaming about what exactly this is doing, but I really think there needs to be like something near the icon or the player's health telling your teammates, okay, he is being spotted by this homing beacon, which is radar equivalent. Everyone take advantage of that, or, you know, just be more aware. And I do open fire. Probably should have just popped smoke, but we do get return fire, and we don't get the capture. So now I'm frustrated. Now I'm like, okay, I have to use the one cooldown that I have left for smoke. But if we capture this base, and maybe the friendly bot will keep the Leander spotted long enough that I can help kill it, maybe we can deal with the enemy submarine 1 versus 1. That's what I'm thinking at this point. But the friendly bot, he's a bot, you know, he's terrible. There's nothing, he doesn't know what to do. He's not even hitting his shots on this guy. The Leander's just openly sailing around without any recourse, and maybe we can be the recourse. We do get a fire, which is nice. Oh, friendly gets some secondary hits. He's still alive, though. We absolutely, before leaving the smoke, we need to capture the base. We don't want to give the enemy a chance, and yeah, impossible to hit. Don't want to give the enemy a chance, and we're going to need it, because it is a 1 versus 2, and they're both player controlled, and the Leander is still alive. So now I figure, okay, leave the smoke. The enemy submarine was on the surface, so if I come towards him, he's probably going to spot me before I can spot him, just barely. The Leander is very low, and I don't know how long that's going to last, so I would like to kill him. Ooh, and we got a fire. I would like to kill him before he can possibly kill us, and with that fire, I think we have done it. I think we've killed his surface ship, and yeah, we take a little bit more damage from it, but the Leander is dead. And now the enemy submarine is in a pickle. He has to sit on the surface to spot me. He could blind hit a empowered homing ping underwater, but the only thing that he would have as a giveaway is a random sonar source in the direction at the water. It wouldn't be enough that you could accurately land on the bow or stern home point, but you could try and send a attack, and oh, here we go. Okay, so it's coming at us. So what I do is sort of juke. I get it to commit to its homing, and then I switch before it can reacquire. It seems to work very well. And oh yeah, he's on the surface. He is on the surface. We actually got a fire. We're trying to aim for him. It's a very specific location where the shells have to go, and of course he's going down underwater. But we're homed. He can't disrupt this, and we can just shadow his last known position, and eventually we'll overrun him and have our depth charges in position. It really feels like going up against, oh, here comes another home. This is actually his aft torpedo. Go towards it, make a commit, and then juke with enough time left. That seems to be the best way to deal with homing torpedoes. And in this situation, we should win this 98% of the time. It looks like there's not going to be enough time to catch on to this guy. He's, in fact, trying to retreat. And, you know, that's fine. We're going to win the game. I don't really care. But most likely, we're not going to catch this guy in time to actually kill him. He's probably just going to try and rotate around the island and retreat. And it does look like he is attempting to be on the surface, but I think what he is actually attempting to do is just stay right outside of detection and retreat. He dips back down. Oh, here's a blind send. He did not use his homing, and we just dodge out of the way. It never acquired the icon that would say that it's on the surface, but still, it's good practice. And are we going to actually catch this guy before the game ends? There's only 9 seconds left. I'm trying desperately to get in range to depth charge, but he has just run away. He's done a great job. I think he's actually, gosh, it took too long to update. He actually kept moving. But yeah, DDs are pretty good at pursuing submarines. And yeah, we got kicked off. It was the final game of the night. They're pretty scary, and I like trying to explore where I can take advantage of what the submarine is giving as far as information is concerned. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to check out more of my content, you can click the most recent or the most relevant uploads. You could also choose to subscribe to my channel. We do daily World of Warcraft videos, first impression, how-to, news, and review related. My North American recruit invite is on the screen. You can take advantage of that. I stream at twitch.tv/Notser. Thank you, have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.